Hey, how you guys doing? First of all, happy Halloween, and this is Neil, the top art instructor at Udemy, and from masterpaintingnow.com. That's our website. The link is in the description. About to paint a pumpkin up here for you guys here, as Jack Skeleton from Nightmare Before Christmas. So I'm going to use some white acrylic paint straight out of Walmart. I'm going to put the first layer on. And that's it. Just throw the layer on back and forth like that. It's pretty simple. I'm not going to do the whole thing. It's going to cut here too after it's all dry with a blow dryer because I'm too patient to let the shit dry. Now what sucks is pumpkins naturally exude moisture, and so it makes the paint take a lot longer to dry than what it normally would. Now I'm going to apply the second layer of paint, and I'm trying not to make it too thick, otherwise it takes that much longer to dry. I figured, you know what, to hell with it, that's good enough. I could do a third layer, but I decided I'm not going to do a third layer of paint. By the way, also, I'm the best-selling author of the book on Amazon, How to Draw Awesome Figures by Neil Fontaine. Check it out, look it up, type in How to Draw Awesome Figures on Amazon, and you'll see right there it's my How to Draw book. So first thing I do is I make a couple dots, that way you don't mess up when you're trying to draw it. It's actually a really good technique for drawing too. This is kind of hard to do this because this pumpkin is up in the air, and I'm having to try to paint with my arm floating in midair. And so I'm trying to use my other hand to kind of hold it to give me a little bit of stability. Anyway, very, very difficult, but it's how I had to do it in order to record the video. Now, as I begin working here, I'm working with this black acrylic paint from Walmart. Unfortunately, it looks like it's trying to focus on my head rather than on the pumpkin. I do apologize about that. This is sped up 400 times the speed because it took a while to actually do this crap, and then results pretty good. You'll see it. And what I'm trying to go for here, instead of that typical pumpkin look that people have been doing with Jack Skeleton, I decided, hey, I want to make it more three-dimensional looking, make it look like light's actually hitting it. Now when I do this, I'm actually going to have it to where when the light is hitting it from the right-hand side, that's our right-hand side, I'm also going to have the light bulb outside because that's where my light bulb is, on the right hand side, when well, at least where I'm going to have him placed at. And I think what I'm going to do is actually have a black light because it's white, right? White and black looks really cool in a black light, and the gray as well, so it'll kind of glow this really cool color. And maybe I can show that picture of that or something on my Instagram. For those that don't know, I do have an Instagram, so it's I believe just Master Painting Now on Instagram. I think I want to link to my Instagram on my channel. Actually, I might have already linked to it. I'm not really sure yet. So right now, the first thing I'm doing is just kind of sketching in where I want the scars to be. Now, these are scars from obviously where he used to have his mouth sewn shut. And because they're scars, they're actually indents into the skin. And so they'll have a light and a dark side, like an indentation is how you want to look at it. Some parts of the pumpkin weren't dry, because even though I blow dried it, the pumpkin is sweating, and so it's causing moisture to actually bleed out into the pumpkin. And wow, is this going to be a 20-minute long video even though it's sped up? You know what? I might have to actually speed up double time here for this last part, so I think I'm going to do that really fast here. All right, so you guys already pretty much got the introduction there, so now I'm going to go ahead and stop this, and then I'm going to speed up the second part of this video to be even super fast. All right, so now we're in the sped up version of it here, and so I sped up even twice as fast, so I think this is by 800%. And so just mixing different colors between the white and black, or different hues between them to get the look I want. So I want to try and make it look like the light is coming from the right hand side, and like I had said before. And after starting to work on this, I realized, you know what, it would have been a lot easier if I would have painted him, instead of painting it white, I should have painted it like an off-white or just a really light gray. And then I could have added white highlights where I needed them much easier. And this way I had to kind of use gray around the places I wanted white highlights, and I ended up having to put a bunch of gray all over the place to make it match anyway, since I wanted to go for that 3D look. I'm paying attention to different reference images that you can find online for. Look up Nightmare Before Christmas movie stills, and then click on the Jack ones, and you'll see there's not that many, unfortunately, to choose from. So I had to really be selective which ones that I would choose from or not. But nonetheless, so here I go ahead and I mark in black first where I want all the separations to be. And then I realized, wait a minute, I'm kind of making it look too much like a skull, and he's not a skull. Rather, he has scars from leftover. All right, I had to take out my things. It's too hard to talk with those things in. So I realized that there's supposed to be scars left over from when he had stitches in his mouth, I imagine. So in that case, I go back over this with some gray paint and everything. But it gave me a good underpainting when I go over it because it still kind of shows through a little bit, and that allows me to give that look of the scars. And so think of scars as indents, right? At least these scars. See with it now. There's gray. I'm gonna put the black on the opposite side. Like, okay, when you have an indent, if you have a sphere, let's say, right, and you're lighting it from the right hand side, and the right hand side's gonna be bright and the left hand side's gonna be dark. But if you put an indent, like a hole in that sphere, the shadow is going to be on the right hand side of the hole, and the highlight's going to be on the inside of that hole. Like, let's say you carved out a perfect bowl shape inside of the sphere. And so that's a basic principle to keep in mind when you're doing things like indents. So when I get to the point here where I'm going to paint on the indenting of his mouth, the scars, I put all the gray down here. I need to make sure that I have the shadows following that indentation. Now this is a lot of, because these are acrylics, they dry fast at least on the board I'm working on. So I have to constantly mix up, and I'm trying to rematch that same color I had before. And sometimes it's kind of difficult to match that same color. But here I'm just giving three-dimensionality to the eyes and three-dimensionality to the nose. Working on some of the three-dimensionality of the eyebrows, which would definitely take the longest, but I was like, you know what, I don't want to spend that much time. It's just a pumpkin. So I went ahead and did a more sped up version. Now you can start to see that they're starting to look like scars, like cracks, like, you know, indentations within the face. And also I wanted to put two of his teeth showing because I don't know if you remember in the movie, but when he smiles, he has teeth. They're actually yellow. His teeth are yellow, but I decided to kind of make them kind of like grayish because that's the only colors I'm working with right now, and I didn't have yellow anyway. I probably have it somewhere in my actual real acrylic paint sets, but I didn't feel like getting those out. So now you can see I kind of like highlighting some of the top of it too, so it kind of looks like it's a three-dimensional mouth. And now I just want to add in all the little details everywhere. And this is something that, you know, he doesn't have in the movie, but I thought it would look cooler if he had all these little like details everywhere, just making him look more like I don't know, evil or realistic. All right, so that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for watching. Go ahead and visit my website, masterpaintingnow.com, for tons of art tutorials and painting tutorials.